it's me. Remember, absent legal advice and absent legal authority, this is not legal advice. This is just me, Chief Jones, Brother Damon, over here at my church, giving y'all the word of God the way he lays it down to me and telling me how to explain to people that our servant government is rabid. Okay, they're like a rabid dog or a rabid rabbit or whatever. Okay, we have to deal with them, but we have to deal with them in a reasonable manner, a lawful manner, a real lawful manner, not what they call lawful, but what God calls lawful. Okay, we have to remove them and put other people in. So we got an act on the record. We have a really great government, but we got a lot of criminals within the government, and we have a lot of people that are influencing good people to do bad things. Okay, now our hope at the time is to go to courts that are probably going to listen to what other judges and other cases have come before them in other courts in other years, and they're going to look at the words, and they're going to say, well, we got to let this guy go because he's not required to have a driver's license. He isn't required to have insurance. He isn't required to have a registration or a tag on his private motor vehicle, or should I say private motor automobile. See, almost 40 years in the system, a lot of things automatically try and come out that ain't true, and I had to suppress that and think about what is really the truth, not what I was mistaught. You know, the first 20 years of my life, I thought everybody in a private automobile was a motor vehicle. I did not know there was a distinction. They didn't teach me in the academy that, and they don't teach people to this day. They don't teach the difference. So the police come out and they think that they're doing right. They got on the white hat, and the people in the car, they sped or they got an equipment violation on their motor vehicle, which is a private automobile, so it changes it from this classification to this classification. Police have authority over here, but they don't here, but they're here with you without authority. And arguing with them on the side of the road is liable to get you hurt, really hurt, or dead, or in jail, or in the hospital. And the original thing that you got stopped for could have been done away with if you'd have handled it the right way. And then the police would be on notice to leave you alone in the future. Okay? So, let's go back over here to some of these other cases. Let's look up transportation. Transportation in Webster's Unified Dictionary and Encyclopedia, 1960. The act or business of moving passengers and goods for money. This means conveyance is used. Management, such as convicts to a penal colony. They used a lot of strange words, but it meant taking prisoners to the county jail or to the state penitentiary using commerce. Let's see here. Under the Interstate Commerce Act, okay, Interstate Commerce Act, that means from state to state to state. This is a Commerce Act. 49 USCA. Section 1, ET sequence. Transportation includes the entire body of services rendered by a carrier in connection with receipt, handling, and delivery of property transported and include the furnishing of cars. This is Pelcher, P-L-E-T-C-H-E-R versus Chicago. Pelcher versus Chicago. I can't spell it right. Okay. That is a case law there. Okay. So what it's telling you is when they're talking about a carrier is a motor carrier. That means things like J.B. Hunt, Swift, SRT, all the other big companies, Motor Movers of America, American Motors. They are car transporters. They carry cars. So the cars that's on their thing, we used to call them a parking lot when I drove a truck. Hey, how about that parking lot ahead? Come on. They have them 6 or 8 or 10 cars on a carrier cart. Those are common carriers or carriers. They're carrying goods from one place to another. That's a carrier. Let's see here. Transportation, Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. The removal of goods or persons from one place to another by a carrier. Okay. Again, that would be a bus like Trailways and Greyhound. Trailways went away years ago, but there was mainly Trailways and Greyhound. There was other bus companies, but they were the main two. Or goods, sugar, flour, meal, canned goods from warehouse to warehouse or whatever, like big trucks carry all the time. Let's look up here something else. Prior to November the 2nd, 1926, the statute of 1925 imposed a licensed tax on the operating of motor vehicles over the public highways for hire, which means if you ain't getting paid, you don't have to have no tax, no license. Okay? That don't even include reimbursement. Okay? Say you and 2 guys, y'all travel from y'all's home in a carpool. So y'all trade off automobiles driving back and forth, or you got a really good car and everybody else likes it, and you got good air conditioning and their air conditioning ain't good. So it takes $5 to go one way and 5 people's in the automobile, and everybody puts in $1. That's not for hire. That's helping pay your share of the cost for fuel. That isn't for the man driving. He ain't making nothing. He ain't renting nothing out. You're all sharing in the cost. See, they even try and play games with that, believe it or not. He was paid. Them people gave him money. No, they were sharing the load. Okay, now let's see, where are we at here on the next thing? On November 2nd, 1926, the people adopted an amendment to Article, I don't know that numeric insignia, Section 15 of the Constitution, changing the tax rate on carriage of passengers and the transportation of property, and relying on carriage of municipal licenses and taxes. Municipal is like a city, but they're making it on a national level, which means they're calling Congress a municipality, okay, instead of the seat of the national union government. The amendment contained the provision that such taxes shall be in lieu of other taxes licensed upon the property of such companies. Oh, we're not a company, though. We're a man or a woman. That leaves us out again. People versus Borderland Express. People versus Borderland Express. 1933. 218 California 680-681. If you just look up People versus Borderland Express 1933, you'll find it. Let's see what else I can find here. It's obvious that those who operate motor vehicles for the transportation of person or property for hire enjoy a different and more extensive use of public highways. Such extraordinary use constitutes a natural distinction and a full jurisdiction for the separate classification and for the relief from the burden of the license tax. Ho, 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 ho! That does it again! Yay! Okay, this is Bacon, Service Corporation versus Huss, Huss. Bacon Service Corporation versus Huss. Then we got State versus Carroll, Karel. State versus Carroll, Karel. Okay, now let's go down. Where's my, I missed something here. Where'd I go? here's shoot. I forget where I'm at. Y'all don't go off and leave me here. Here's another good case. Just look it up. United States versus Salinas. United States versus Salinas. Salinas. United States versus Salinas. Okay. The Fourth Amendment forbids stopping a vehicle, even for the limited purposes of questioning its occupants. Unless police officers have found suspicious criminal conduct. Unless they found suspicion of criminal conduct. So here we go. United States versus Ramirez, 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 then there's a dash, Sandoval, Sandoval, Ramirez Sandoval, Ramirez dash Sandoval, 1932, and this is in the Ninth Circuit, and I guess they used that again in 1989 in another case. United States versus Thomas, United States versus Thomas, and this was in the Ninth Circuit in 1988. Okay, so they're using that same case in another case. Not to confuse anybody, but some people don't know, but in the Hispanic Latino community, of which I have no Hispanic Latino in me that I'm aware of, I'd be proud to be, and if I find out I am, I'll celebrate. Anything else I got in me, I'll celebrate that too. Okay? I'm kind of a Heinz 57. People ask me, hey, where do you come from? I see this feature about you, that feature about you. Oh, and somebody said I had a booger on my head. That right there, that's a growth. That's been removed like 3 times, and it may be time to get it removed again, but it costs money. So the guy that said I had a booger on my head, I don't. If you'll send me some money, it's going to cost about $100 copay, and then they get some medicine with it. But you send me $100, I'll get that booger off so it don't bother you when you watch my videos, okay? But in Hispanic Latino communities, when somebody gets married, or a lot of times even when men do it, and I know it's with women, but a lot of times with men, they'll carry their first name, they'll carry their middle name, and then they'll carry their mother's last name, and then their father's last name, so it gives them 4 names. Well, these states unlawfully violate these people's customs and usage because they make them take their middle name and their mother's last name and put a little marker hyphen thing between them, so it's like it's one name because their computer only recognizes a first, middle, and last name. Okay? Well, I say, well, then you got to get yourself a new damn computer because you're violating our heritage, violating our rights of custom and usage, which is the oldest laws in the land, is custom and usage, which means our people have done this for decades and decades, or centuries and centuries. We've always done this. and you're coming along trying to make some man-made statute on a piece of paper that says otherwise. And just because it's wrote on a piece of paper doesn't change our life, and you can't treat us wrong or bad or disenfranchise us or hurt us because our custom doesn't comply to your system. But anyway, back to me. Best as we can tell, okay, my people come from a way back, like a couple thousand years ago. They come from Israel. A portion of them come through Israel, and they come through modern day Europe. Okay, a lot of them come from Germany and the German area, and they kept migrating. So they leave Israel, some of them go through Egypt, but they mainly stayed in the same clan of the Israeli people. And then they went into Europe, and mostly from Germany and so forth. Then they went over and they went to England and to Scotland and to Ireland and stuff. So my people come out of the Middle East, being Israel. Then they went into the European theater, and then they went to England. And then from England, some of them were in the first party that come to Jamestown. You know, so on one side of the family, they come to Jamestown. On the other side, 2 or 3 of our people come on the Mayflower. So we got the Jamestown side, we got the Mayflower side, but then they come on down from that area and was in Virginia and the Carolinas. Then some of them come and they intermarried with some Indians that eventually was in the Trail of Tears. So some of the Trail of Tears people come over to Oklahoma. The rest of our families, some of them stayed in the Carolinas, and some of them drifted on down south and over to Texas. Some stayed in Georgia, some went to North and Central Florida, and some was in Alabama. And then went over to Texas, and most of them parked in Texas and stayed. And a lot of my family settled East Texas and Northeast Texas, say from Hugo, Oklahoma, which is just across the line, and the Paris, Texas area down to Lockhart, Elkhart, Palestine, or Palestine, however you want to pronounce it, over to Waco, Fort Parker, Cynthia Ann Parker was my 4th great aunt, and her son Quanah Parker was my, I guess, 4th or 5th great cousin. Anyway, I'm kind of a Heinz 57, so I know we're Jewish, we're German, we're Scottish, Irish, English, and Indian. That I know from our records. Beyond that, I don't know. If there was somebody black, brown, yellow, some other color, or some other nationality, I just ain't aware. And if I find out, I'll go, whoo, one more thing to add to my list. I might be a Heinz 99 instead of a Heinz 57. Anyway, I'm proud of me. I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of my parents and my family. I'm proud of the people that belong to my church, the Sovereign Church of Jesus. I'm proud of the abilities the Lord has gave me and has caused me to understand that the laws of man have fallen away from His laws. His law was the first law and the supreme law, and it is still the supreme law, and it was a covenant with His people forever. The Constitution of the United States, again, the Constitution of the United States, was another covenant with the people. The people among themselves made a covenant with each other. And they said, a portion of us will agree that we're going to be servants for the people. They had maids and butlers in people's homes. They said, we're going to be your government servants. We're going to take care of the government. We're going to take care of the affairs of state to state and nation to nation, to get treaties and get things where if you're a farmer and you grow potatoes or corn, we're going to help supply that throughout the country. We're going to help sell some of that overseas, and we're going to bring some stuff in, and we're going to help to create a good economy for the people These are what our servants do. And we're going to make sure in this covenant that we only have a limited amount of authority. What's in here? That's the authority. Okay? If you leave here and you go over here, you've stepped outside of your authority. And that's where the police are today when they stop you in a private automobile. Okay? They should not make these false assumptions during business. But benefit of the doubt, if the police stops you and you let them know you're in a private automobile, which you can do, then that should be the end of it. But after that, if you tell them, listen, I'm going to take the Fifth Amendment, and that includes the right not to produce. So if you ask me for any papers or documents, I'm remaining silent on that also. I'm not talking, and I'm not doing nothing for you. So you do what you have to. Then if they take you to jail for using the Fifth Amendment, then you have civil and criminal charges you can file against the police because you've already notified them. You've notified them that you're using a constitutional amendment. And the police are prohibited from turning your right into a crime and arresting you for it. So then there's civil and criminal charges. So you can file against that officer, his sergeant, lieutenant, his captain, the chief, the whole city council, or the deputy, the sheriff, and the county commission, or the state police, whoever it is, you can go against them. Now,